come on when you
Correct.
after you introduce me. Okay.
So for those of you who are just joining us, we are going to record this. We are recording this and it will be on the MAP website. So I'm going to not do the individual recordings, but it'll be on the MAP website so you can get it.
Welcome all. Thank you as we settle in. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes. I am so excited. We have individuals joining us from across this great country of ours. For those who are kind of listening in as we we're getting ready for this chat, before this session, I was excited because I thought I was going to have a first presentation where I could say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, thinking that we would have that. But unfortunately for those in Alaska, well, you're a good afternoon now. But it is so good to see. Maybe as we get going, can we see some where are you from? What state are you from? What program are you from?
Are you sitting on it? Can you get off of it?
So if you can, as we're waiting for everyone to log in, which program are you part of? Gotta put that in there. Look at that. We got Missouri and Wisconsin, Madison. We got Mississippi, Kansas. Woo, look at this. Idaho. Yay. Alaska. We got Kansas. We got Florida. Look at this. Colorado, Texas. Woo. That's awesome. Great, excellent representation. TCU McNair. Well, cool. We're almost there. Oh, I see California. Oh, the Big Apple. That is awesome. Today we have over 100+ students that are coming on. So we're just going to give another couple seconds as everyone comes in. Make sure that all of our systems are go. And then what I anticipate is about a minute, we'll probably begin the formal presentation, which is going to be recorded. BUU, welcome. We got staff and students, amazing. You see Baylor out there. As we're going to talk about here shortly, one of the strengths of this amazing National McNair program is just the broad representation. All right. Oh, looks like we got Texas A&M in the house. All right, we're about 30 seconds from go time. Individuals are still coming in, we're still letting them in. I want to make sure no one misses anything. Looks like we have some amazing faculty in the house too. Oh, we've got groups of scholars. I see a couple of rooms pretty filled up. That's awesome to see. Preparing and setting myself up for McNair. Is that University of Wisconsin Oshkosh? Or, oh, we got Delta State University in Cleveland. Cool. That's awesome. All right, folks, we're about 20 seconds from go time. 20 seconds to go time. It is 3:04. We're going to get this this flight launched here. All right. Again, for those who just joined us, this session is being recorded. We would love to see your faces, but at the same time, do what you need to do. No judgment. We do hope that when we do get to the question and answer that we'll be able to see a lot of faces, so it doesn't feel like we're talking to a blank wall on there. Good afternoon and good evening to McNair Scholars, to staff, to McNair partners who are joining us from across the country. My name is Anthony Albecker. I am a proud TRIO alum, and I am the director of the University of Minnesota TRIO McNair program. And today, I am joined as we get going and moderating this session and facilitating this effort. I'm joined by my amazing colleague, Dr. Eric Dieter from the University of Texas. Eric, where are you? There he is. Woo! And then we've got Dr. Audra Hernandez from the amazing state of Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin. Hello, Audra. And the three of us are representing a broader community that works nationally as part of what is called the National McNair Association of Professionals that come together to try to create the strongest programming for you amazing scholars. So I'm really excited to guide you, and a special thank you to Carrie, who is helping us on administrative backend. So we're excited to see you all. And so here in just a couple moments, you're going to see the main act, Mr. Carl McNair. We're excited to get there. But before we get going, I just really want to acknowledge and thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules. We recognize there is so much going on. For some of you, this is your first week of school. For those, may be your second week. It is still really busy, and especially with all the responsibilities that you have with work, family, academics, just thank you for making the time to be here. And one of the things that we want to share with you is a reminder that your McNair program may remind you and tell you that you are part of a national McNair community, and sometimes it can be hard to understand that. And so what we want to say is just welcome, and that we are glad that you're part of our program of over 216 McNair programs. And you'll notice in the bottom right, the image just kind of, that only gives a sample of that. And I do want to acknowledge if we have University of Central Florida in the house. A special thank you to Dr. Michael Eldorado Jeffries and the amazing UCF who sponsor McNair Promising Practices. Again, everything that we do is working to try to support and guide you amazing scholars to reach your full potential. So I am excited because we're going to get to it right off the bat here. When we are done today, we will be sending you a recording of today's session. And when you do that recording, we will also send a link of today's PowerPoint. And today's PowerPoint is going to be hyperlinked with a lot of different resources that you'll be able to take and go and check out on your own. But I am really excited to introduce and hand the floor over here in the next minute to Mr. Carl McNair, who is the CEO and founder of the McNair Achievement Programs and president of the McNair Foundation. These programs are named in honor of his brother, astronaut Dr. Ronald E. McNair, who perished along with 6 of his fellow astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger on January 28th, 1986. The Department of Education and the Council for Opportunity Education, legislators, educators, and the McNair family provided leadership that led to the creation of the federally funded Ronald E. McNair programs here. Mr. McNair is a best-selling author of a book entitled In the Spirit of Ronald E. McNair, Astronaut and American Hero. He also co-produced a short film, For the Moon, based on his book, and is directed by Niall Price. Mr. McNair is a co-creator of the educational animation Eyes on the Stars, done in collaboration with NPR and StoryCorps. This November, Mr. McNair will receive the 2024 President's Lifetime Achievement Award. And so if you want to take and give a big round of applause and welcome Carl McNair.
Well, hello. Let's give a wave of the hand. Just make sure everybody's with me, those I can see. All right. Excellent. I am so excited to be with you all this afternoon, for some this morning or late in the evening, but I'm happy that you are here to kick off this academic year event. I want to first of all thank the McNair Association of Professionals, which is an organization made up for the directors and other staff that's associated with the McNair program. You need to be a part of this program, particularly during times such as these. We need to work together and advocate together. And this organization, under the leadership of Kim Rosfield, is the organization for you, those of you who qualify. Now, before we kick off, I have something new that I may have shown one time, and you will have the experience of checking it out. And I think once you see this, you will be a little prouder to be a McNair Scholar or to be associated with this program. So on that note, would you play the animation that we created?
All right. All, please watch your ears. We don't have the sound completely calibrated, but here we go.
Dr. Ronald McNair was a renowned physicist, astronaut, and the second African American to fly into space. Although he came from a low-income family, his parents always encouraged him to do well in school, and he excelled at math and science at an early age. In 1959, 9-year-old Ronald attempted to check out 2 books at the segregated Lake City, South Carolina Public Library. He was asked to leave,
Get out of here!
but refused to do so until he was allowed to check out his books. When the librarian threatened to call the police, he sat on the counter and waited patiently. After the police and his mother arrived, the officers recommended that the library give him the books, as he posed no obvious threat. In 2011, that segregated library became a museum celebrating his life and was renamed the Dr. Ronald E. McNair Life History Center. In 1967, Ronald graduated as valedictorian from Carver High School in Lake City. It was renamed Ronald E. McNair Junior High School in 1986. In 1971, he received his Bachelor of Science degree with highest honors in engineering physics from North Carolina A&T State University. In 1976, Ronald received his doctorate from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in quantum electronics and laser technology. He soon became nationally recognized for his work in laser physics and became a staff physicist with the Hughes Research Laboratories in California. Dr. McNair was an accomplished saxophone player and held a 6th-degree black belt in karate. In 1978, Dr. Ronald McNair was chosen by NASA for the astronaut training program as one of 35 finalists from a pool of over 10,000 applicants. On his first space mission in 1984 aboard Space Shuttle Challenger, he logged a total of 8 days in space. Dr. McNair flew his second mission aboard the Challenger on January 28, 1986.
Challenger, go and throttle up.
Just 73 seconds after launching, the world watched in horror as the space shuttle exploded in mid-air, killing all 7 astronauts. At the young age of 35, Dr. Ronald McNair left a legacy that continues to inspire a nation. Across the United States, over 24 schools, parks, and government buildings were renamed in his honor. In 1988, the McNair crater on the dark side of the moon was also named in his honor. In 1989, the Department of Education initiated the Dr. Ronald E. McNair Post-Baccalaureate Achievement Program to support disadvantaged students. In 2004, Dr. McNair was posthumously awarded the Congressional Space Medal of Honor. Dr. Ronald McNair was a brilliant man who exemplified excellence. His accomplishments demonstrated so vividly the importance of education and perseverance, and we are honored to call him a hero of color.
All right. Fantastic. I hope you all enjoyed that. Does it make you feel a little louder? Does it make you feel a little bit more close to McNair, Dr. McNair? I'm very proud of that particular video because we worked very hard on it, and we certainly wanted to say in 3 minutes what we couldn't possibly say in 3 hours. But the McNair crater on the moon. How many knew that was the case? That we had a McNair crater on the, in fact, we're going to change the name to McNair Scholars Crater. How's that? Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, what I hope to do this afternoon is share a little bit about Dr. McNair, not only about Dr. McNair, but I want to share a little bit about his background and how his experiences may benefit the McNair Scholars that are on here, and perhaps some of the others as well, because everybody kind of look at Dr. McNair, or many people do, and kind of think that maybe he just one day rolled out of the bed and became a PhD, and then he went to MIT. Far from it. And so I hope there are some life lessons that you will be able to learn from this, as well as when we, at the end of this session, this particular portion of the session, that you will be able to ask some questions, and hopefully I'll be able to give some answers, and hopefully we'll fill in some of the gaps there. So let me begin with giving you a little background about Dr. McNair. Now, you might have noticed that we grew up in a very backwards town to keep a little boy out of the library. We grew up in Lake City, South Carolina, populations 2,000, and that is you counting the cows, the pigs, the hogs. I mean, this is rural South Carolina. It doesn't get more country than that. We grew up in a segregated town. For those of you who are not familiar with segregated, that means we couldn't go to the same places as white people. We couldn't go to the same schools. And as you saw in that video, we couldn't go to the public library, even though it was public library. So in that particular scene, you saw my brother engaged in a little civil disobedience. That was probably one of the first sit-ins that, in fact, that was the first sit-in that he ever engaged in. And as you can see from his tenacity and a little stubbornness, that he was able to get his books. But as it turns out, by doing that little act of civil disobedience, it wasn't just for him. Later, he was able to get books for his friends as well, and that made for a good situation for all of us. Now, back to my hometown. Most of the people in my hometown, they work in the fields, they work in the farms, they work picking tobacco, cucumbers, cotton, you name it, they picked it, okay? They worked in the barns, they worked in the warehouses. If you were to become a white-collar professional, as we used to say during that time, and still today, a white-collar professional, in other words, wear a suit and tie and what have you, or a professional suit for the ladies, that choice was limited to two things. You could either be a preacher or a teacher. That was it. We did not have McNair Scholars, the kind of opportunities that you are presented with through the McNair Scholars program. That was not even a phantom of ours, that we had the opportunities and didn't have those opportunities for a long time. Now, how did Ron get from that point to where he got to? Let me tell you something. Nobody, absolutely nobody, achieved a high level of success without the assistance of a few people. In fact, quite a few people. Like in your case, you have the McNair Scholars program to help you and engage with you and help you chart your career. Many people don't have that, and thank God you do. But just so happened, and I see Virginia Union is on this particular call, I'll tell you a little bit about what happened. There was a school teacher in 11th grade, and I might back up by telling you, I am 10 months older than Dr. McNair, 10 months. They called, I didn't even know that was possible, right? 10 months. You know, I still am baffled behind that. I mean, they didn't even give me a whole year to be a big brother. They only gave me 10 months. But I understand that if you're born within the same years, I learned that that's called Irish twins. And I only learned that maybe 6 years ago. Never heard the term, but if you were born in the same year. Well, Ron and I were that close. We started the first grade together, went through high school together, went to the same university, matriculated at that same university, left the same year. And when he started MIT, I said, that's all for me, brother. You know, I was done. So we even were roommates for a while at MIT, but I'm ahead of myself. In my hometown, that professor, that young teacher, gave my brother an opportunity to spend a summer at Virginia Union University. It just so happened the previous year, Congress passed a bill that was the Higher Education Act that created what? The TRIO program. And Upward Bound was one of those programs. Now, they were still trying to get their act together, but Virginia Union got one of those first programs. And they didn't call it Upward Bound, but Ron participated in that program that particular summer. Now, check this out, McNair Scholars. People are always watching you. They're looking for someone that they can recommend for opportunities, maybe scholarships, maybe jobs. You never know. Somebody was watching Ron McNair while he was doing his summer at Virginia Union University. It turns out this man had a PhD, and he observed Ron's commitment to hard work, his commitment to this education. And so he walked up to Ron and said, I've been watching you. I see you're committed to your education. I believe, Ron, that you can take this all the way to the PhD level. Ronald said, I can? What's a PhD? Well, the guy went on to tell him that was the highest academic level that anyone could achieve. PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. That rang in Ron's head, and he thought about it. Now, this is his junior year in high school. And he said, maybe that's what I'll do. And sometimes you need people who can see possibilities in you, McNair Scholars. And in fact, that you're a McNair Scholar, someone saw a possibility in you. And like Ron McNair, he decided to do something about it. Well, he came back going into the senior year, and that chemistry professor asked him to write a paper 10 years hence. Now, check this out. That paper meant that he had to write what he wanted to do in 10 years. He wrote that within 10 years, he would achieve his PhD. Now, talking about goal setting, he just learned what the PhD was, and he set that as his goal. He achieved that goal within 3 months of his self-imposed deadline. Now think about what that seed that was sown into that young man at Virginia Union, and he held on to that goal and he achieved it. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want you to see some of the parallels and some of the challenges that you are having that's similar to Dr. McNair and how he handled it. And understand also that as we continued on prior to him getting a PhD, he had a challenge. And we both had a challenge getting money to go to college. Now, it's important for you to know this because things are happening now that seem to align with some of the things that's happening during that time. We were not allowed to go to the University of South Carolina, nor Clemson University, nor Winthrop, or any other university where that was predominantly white. So what they did, the state of South Carolina provided funds for out-of-state fee for us to go to a college, as long as we didn't go to those colleges. How crazy is that? But we took it. We were grateful for it. And it wasn't a lot because we ended up still having to get one of those federal government loans, low interest, but that was okay. We were able, quite frankly, we didn't know what we were signing, but we had to pay it back, okay? So reason why I share that, notice that there was intervention every step of the way. Now at North Carolina A&T, and you might find this important because many of you will have challenges and having challenges right now. When Ron and I went to North Carolina A&T, we had a challenge, a major one the first week. You see, they put us in a big room with all the other students, you know, the engineers, the social science, the business majors, all these different majors. Some of them, we didn't even know what they were. But the group Ron with the physics majors, and he heard this talk all behind him by other physics majors about all the great physics courses that they have taken in high school, classical mechanics and modern physics. Ron knew that he only had Physics 101 for half a semester in high school. Now, watch this. Ron started to doubt himself. Well, I was past doubting myself. I was checking out the bus schedule to see what was the first thing smoking back to Lake City, South Carolina. But I came to college with him, so I couldn't leave without him. So I said, well, maybe I'll give it another month. Ron had to make a decision whether he was going to go on to pursue physics or whether he would go on to pursue some other major. Well, since I can't see most of you, I can't take a poll here, but I would ask, how many of you think that he went on to pursue physics? In other words, and then I would ask, how many of you would think that he went on to pursue a career or a major in music? Well, most folks say that he went on to pursue, but the truth be told, for about 2 weeks, he floundered around in the music department, and he was a music major. Now, as it turns out, there was this advisor, a professor who also was a counselor, learned that he was not going to pursue physics and called him into the office and told him, why aren't you pursuing physics? Well, he told him about those students that seem to come, as we say, from the right side of the tracks, that came from more affluent families, that came from better schools. Even though Ron McNair graduated valedictorian, how much effort did that take in a school that had about 100 seniors graduating that year versus some of these students who graduated at the top of the class from a school of 1,000 graduates? He thought he was out of his league. He told the counselor about these guys taking all these great courses. And then she said, Ron, let me take a look at your credentials. Let me take a look at your records. Mrs. Gore, she looked at his transcript, looked at his letters of recommendation, and then she looked back at Ron. She said, Ron, I believe that you can get a degree from this university in physics. Ron, I believe that you are better than good enough. I want you to go try. Like many of the McNair scholars here, you get that kind of encouragement all the time for the McNair staff, directors, coordinators, and other people who participate to believe in you until you reach a point where you can believe in yourself. That's what the McNair Scholars program does. Help you chart your journey until you can believe totally in the journey. Ronald went, check this out. He took remedial math and there was a thing called remedial science. You're probably saying, wait a minute, you talking about this guy, same guy that gets his PhD from MIT, taking remedial math and remedial science? Now I know this to be a fact. Why? I took remedial math and remedial science with him. Remember, he and I were together the whole time. We were together 26 of his 35 years of life. Okay. So he went back, took those courses. And the point I wanted to make behind that, as you learn a little bit more about from his background, you're not going to always be able to go right into the degree or the area that you want to go in. Sometimes you have to take a few. Sometimes it might take an extra semester or two, but that doesn't mean that you are failed or that you can't do it. It happened to Dr. McNair. Truth be told, it happened to me, but we're not talking about me today. That's the next time. We're talking about the person who this program is named for. Now, Ron went back, took those courses, and he was able to go on to pursue his degree in physics, at least start taking courses in that direction. Now, Ron, with that same habit that he had and showed and displayed at Virginia Union University, one of his professors realized that how committed that he was to his education and that he was willing to do whatever it takes to reach his goal. When that happens, McNair Scholars, people look for opportunities for you. When they realize how committed, how dedicated, how passionate you are about whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, they will look for opportunities over and above what they normally do. In fact, some of you want to know about mentors. Sometimes mentors are drawn to people like that when they see that this person is willing to make the commitment in order to take it all the way to the top. Well, that's happened to Dr. McNair. He was presented an opportunity to spend a summer at Duke University. He didn't have to take it, but he thought at that time, Duke was not totally integrated. And I might mention this because there's a point I want to make later on. At that time, Congress hasn't fully, totally integrated everything. In fact, our high school didn't integrate until 4 years after we'd left. Imagine that. Okay? But so things were starting to happen. I will point this out to you, and this is probably for the directors. Sometimes people have good intentions of bringing more people of color and minorities within the university. But sometimes they need a little motivation. The motivation was from the federal government, and Congress had enacted this, that if you did not open your doors to more minorities or people of color, we are going to restrict some of these research dollars. The same thing happened within the corporate area. People don't have opportunities. They realize that you're going to lose this government contract. And then they start finding opportunities for people who look like myself, Ron, and many of us on this line. So Ron had that opportunity. The same thing happened for MIT. Now, check this out. People are looking to give you opportunity. It's up to you to compete. It's up to you to compete so you can continue to be successful in whatever it is and whatever door that has been opened up for you. That's how Ron got to MIT. MIT has started to open up more doors for African Americans at that time. They didn't let them all the way in. They say, hey, come here this summer, work, participate in this summer program, and we'll see how you do. It's like a tryout for a football team or some other sports team. It was a tryout. And Ron said it was a heck of a tryout because he worked more than 60, 70 hours a week, and he wasn't even a full-time student. Now, I thought after that experience, he had enough of MIT, came back to A&T and proclaimed that he was going to apply to MIT and pursue his PhD. Now, this is the same guy who took remedial math and remedial science. MIT has some of the best in the world. And here this guy who took remedial math and remedial science have the gall to apply there. Well, he did it. He didn't let his trepidations. He kept remembering what that advisor always told him. And they're telling you the same within the McNair program at your respective universities. You are good enough. You are absolutely good enough. How I know you're good enough? You would not have been accepted into this program if they didn't think you were good enough. So never doubt, there will be those imposter syndromes. And many of us, like me, we will experience throughout our lives. We'll think that because of certain circumstances that we are not good enough. Ron McNair went through that the first couple of weeks at A&T's campus. I'm not good enough to compete with these other physics majors. Who am I to think I can compete with them? It happens to the best of us. Y'all get this? Shake your head, yes, stay with me now. Okay. I don't see anything in the chat. I like to see some yeses every now and then. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go any further in this. Perhaps you may want to ask other questions later on, but I just wanted to give you a preview of some of the things that I could tell you about Dr. McNair, but this is really about you. Now, we're going to have a question and answer in a little while. Let's see what time it is. Okay, fine. We're right about there. I have a wish list. And on this wish list, I have wishes for the McNair Scholars Program. McNair Scholars, I have wishes for you. You want to hear it? Here it goes. My first wish on my wish list is to make more funds available to McNair Scholars like you. If that's one that you like to have, like to come to fruition, write yes in the chat. All right. All right, I see some yeses. Yeah, okay. Check this out. Increase funding or the continuous availability of Pell Grants. All right. Most of you have Pell Grants. Now, let's not be selfish. How about increase funding for McNair staff, right? They don't make, this is a labor of love for them. Don't understand, they don't get rich doing this. They love the work that they do. So let's give them a little something too. Oh, how about this one? And I have more. Guarantee funding for graduate school. I can get excited about that. Y'all wave your hand on, let me know y'all alive, okay? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, check this out. More funding for the McNair Scholars Program. That's on November's ballot. Continuous funding for Pell Grants. That's on this November's election ballot. How about funding for fellowships and scholarships? That is also on the ballot. So why am I saying this? You have the power to make a difference, particularly this year. You have the power for Gen Zs and Gen Ys and all those other gens. The time is now. You have the power. If there's any other time that you thought that your vote didn't count, you're wrong. It always counts. Those programs for Dr. McNair, Congress, senators, they voted for those programs. The McNair Scholars Program, Congress, senators, and House, they voted for that program. There's factions out there who's having a change of heart. One of the scholars I worked with, one of our McNair Scholars alumni social media team said, Carl says, well, she says, Mr. McNair, give it to us straight. Give it to us straight. Don't sugarcoat it. And I'm gonna give it to you straight. You have heard some mumblings about the program having some challenges right now. And we, as McNairs, have seen this before. Things like this have happened before. It happened when we were affirmative action recipients. Ron and I both were proud recipients of affirmative action. But trust this, they will not let us stay in those particular schools or jobs unless we were able to perform. Don't let anybody put you down with the, now this is Carl McNair, nonpartisan. This is not MAP. I'm not representing. This is me talking. Okay? Let nobody ever put you down calling you a DEI. I would be a proud DEI recipient of anything, because that means that they have cracked the door for you. They've cracked the door. You've earned the right. And we have to fight hard with our votes and with our advocacy to make certain that this program, I know you wanted it around for years to come, and for the next generation, and for that sister or brother, that kid across the street. We want to do everything we possibly can. Your vote would make the difference. I would close by saying this, and we'll get into the Q&A. That there are people who's looking up to you, McNair Scholars. Some people you don't even know you. They see you getting up, going to school, and they're saying to themselves, I'd like to be like that guy, that young lady. And so what you're doing is not just for yourself. It is not just for yourself. It's for those who come behind you. There are those who are watching you now. And that is your responsibility to help those come from behind. Dr. McNair and myself, I participated and worked for a number of years with big brothers, big sisters. You have to give. You have to give up yourself in order to receive. Dr. McNair 3 times a week went to St. Paul AME Church, where he had a karate club for disadvantaged kids in the community, and he was there like clockwork. He planned that, and everything, even including MIT, worked around that. I am submit to you, to whom much is given, much is required, much is expected. And that's what the McNair family subscribe to. We like to offer it to you. Now, what we want you to do at this point in time, you know that I hope you've convinced yourself that your vote counts. So what I'm going to do at this point in time, I'm going to put up a QR code. This QR code, I want you to take I want you to take your cameras. I want you to take whatever. Read this QR code. It will get you an opportunity to check to see if you're registered from any place in the country, including Alaska. The code on the right, that is our McNair code. We're working in collaboration when we all vote, non-partisan. And you can check anywhere in the country to see if you are registered to vote. If you're not registered to vote, that same QR code will take you where you can register right now at the desk you're sitting at right now. Do not take this lightly. Please do not take this lightly. The future of McNair, the future of TRIO, and many other educational programs is in your vote. Vote like your life depends on it, because the truth is, it does. All right, thank you. All right. I think folks heard that. All right, what we're going to do now, I'm going to pass it back over to Anthony. Anthony is our stalwart leader, and he's going to, I guess.
And I'm going to defer it to Eric, to Dr. Dieter of the University of Texas.
Oh, okay, very good, very good.
And then Eric, let me know if you want me to leave the slides up or down.
I think you can leave them down. Well, thanks so much, Mr. McNair, for that thoughtful and humane story and advice and guidance. And we know that you've selflessly honored your brother, but we want to honor you for everything you've done for McNair, but for education in this country. So I just want to take a minute to acknowledge that, and thank you so much. When we did the RSVP, we let students send in their questions, and we got a ton of questions, but they all sort of fit together into a big pool. So we put 4 questions together that we think kind of represent a lot of what the scholars across the country wanted to ask you. And one of our terrific scholars, Omar, is going to help me ask those questions. So I'm going to let Omar take the first question.
All right, come with it, Omar.
So my first question is, what lessons from your brother's journey can help us navigate uncertainty, both in our academic pursuits and personal developments?
If you dug into Ron's life, you will realize that he had to overcome quite a few challenges. You saw and heard about a few. But one that that sticks in my mind is not giving up even when you have all the reason to believe that you are done. Let me give you an example. While at MIT, Ron had all of his research on some punch cards in a duffel bag. Now, you guys won't know what punch cards are. You guys got flash drives now, you got thumb drives and all these things. You got it up. Your data from your research is all in the cloud. You couldn't lose it if you wanted to. But Dr. McNair had a duffel bag, like the Army military bags. He had punch cards. These are old. I'm not going to let somebody explain it to you. Look it up. You guys are researchers. And he took this bag, and while he was out looking at the Charles River, I mean, he was taking in the view with his wife, and he left the duffel bag sitting up by the tree. That duffel bag was stolen. Somebody thinking something valuable was in there. Yes, it was, but it wasn't what they were looking for. So here was 2 years of research necessary for Ron to earn his PhD, gone. I have it on tape. His professor told us on video that within 3 months, Ron had done all of the experimentations and was able to graduate on time. Now, what's the point behind that story? There's a lot of points behind that story. Tragedy will happen. That was tragic. And all kinds of obstacles. And we can get all freaked out and be concerned. And obviously, in his quiet way, he was freaked out, but he really never showed it. He just went back and did whatever he needed to do in order to finish up his PhD. I always like that one. I think that perseverance, not giving up in spite of the obstacles, the setbacks, that represents Ron McNair.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, though. I appreciate that. That was a good one.
You talked a little bit about the value of mentorship to you and to your brother's educational journeys, and a lot of the scholars were asking if you had advice for what they could do to seek out and cultivate meaningful mentorship opportunities as they are on their own educational trajectories.
That's another very good question. You know, I always tell students, if you're looking for a mentor, you need to find something out about the mentor, the person that you would like to have mentor you. Like a professor, let's say there's a professor and you admire his work. You need to go in and talk to him or her. You want to learn a little bit about how they got to where they are. Establish a relationship. Learn a little bit about how they got to where they are. What challenges did you face? Is there anything you could do around the lab? I mean, if it was one of those, if it's a professor that you're looking for. Now, this is what I found, and I said it earlier. When you have committed yourself to your education, and this professor or whoever it is you're trying to get to mentor you, when you have committed and you work hard and you're passionate about your work, they will know that. They will look and welcome the opportunity to mentor you. But please don't walk up to someone and say, will you mentor me, please? They got enough people walking up to them like that. Learn something about them. Sit down and talk to them. Okay? I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And in terms of our personal ability to kind of be students, how do you think we should, as scholars, be able to honor Ronald E. McNair's legacy, sort of both in our academic and also personal lives this year?
Well, wow, that's thank you for that question. That's really good. Well, I have to slip this after that oratory about voting. Yes, y'all need to vote. You need to vote. You need to definitely vote. Don't make that a minuscule task. That's a big task. You need to do that. That's very important. But I think that that giving the opportunity that you've had or have with the McNair Scholars Program, if the PhD is what you want to pursue, then make a commitment where quitting is not an option. Take it off the table. That's what Dr. McNair, he made the commitment early on that he was going to earn his PhD. What I've found that once you make a commitment, resources that you're looking for, you know, the mentors, the financial resources, and all the things that you might need starts to come together. Not overnight, got to be patient. But it's the universe, or in my family, we believe that God will bring the things that we need. That's what our family subscribe to. So make the commitment and things will start to work out for you.
Thank you. You know, based on your talk today, it's clear that you are aware of the challenges and obstacles, and certainly your brother and you faced challenges and obstacles, and but it's also clear that you have kind of an unwavering optimism, especially in the future of research in this country and the students on this call and all the students in McNair across the country on doing research. So I'm wondering, kind of as we head towards the exits here and wrap up, what gives you hope, Carl? What do you feel optimistic about specifically?
Okay. Now you asked me, I have to tell you. I have the DNA of two ministers on my grandparents' side, a couple of ministers on the other side, and we are people of faith. Okay? Ron was an ordained deacon in the ministry. Okay. I worked in several ministries. It's just what we do. We believe that God will make a way out of no way, in spite of the way that it looks. If it doesn't work this way, it's going to work another way. But there's always a way. And whatever you subscribe to, you know, that's how it works for the McNair. I'll at least leave it like that.
Thank you. Anything else that makes you optimistic when you think about all these great scholars going out in the world? I mean,
absolutely. Well, absolutely.
Yeah. What does that vision look like? Yeah.
You know, I know that will make Ron very proud. You know, when his last flight, he was supposed to be leaving the space program. He had already, remember that University of South Carolina didn't want us there? They had offered him a job to come and to be a professor at the University of South Carolina. And he was going to take it. In fact, he accepted the offer, but never got the chance. Now, that's another example. They turned us down. They didn't want to see us. Now they're begging him to come to work for them. Probably because some of the resources that he would bring there, but nevertheless. And so, I might also, you guys motivate me just as much as anything. But what I do here, I'll also pay homage to my parents, to my grandparents, and those who came before them, who never even imagined that we will be where we are right now. Never even dreamed. They just wanted to make it. They had modest lives. They worked, they tried to vote. Some of them couldn't, most of them couldn't vote, but they kept trying, and they kept doing whatever they could do to make it better for their children. We're living there beyond their wildest imagination. And you are too. Many of you coming from families, you are the first in your family to go to college. And so keep the faith and stay the course. Don't let the way it looks right now be or anywhere along the line. Just keep the faith, stay the course. There's going to be always a way. That's it.
Yeah, stay the course. I think that's terrific advice. Yeah. Mr. McNair, thank you so much again for this powerful and empathetic talk. Thank you for your tireless advocacy on behalf of the McNair Scholars and education across this country. I know all the students will be excited to know that you are pretty easy to get a hold of on LinkedIn. If they want to find you there, they can do that.
Yes, and we're on LinkedIn. We have the McNair Scholars Alumni Connection on Facebook. If you go to, we have Linktree, allow you to go to, the various social medias. And we're looking for folks for our social media team. We're looking for folks in various leadership roles because we got to do a lot in this next 40 days, okay, and beyond. We have to prepare like we've never prepared before, and even beyond November 5th. We have to continue to be advocates for McNair, for TRIO, for education. It will never, ever stop. We have to continue to advocate. That's it. I'm out.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, I'm going to hand it back over to Anthony to wrap us up and adjourn us, and then we will see everybody soon. Stay safe, everybody.
Yes, well, thank you, Eric, and thank you, Omar, and the University of Texas for helping us go through the question part. Again, Carl, thank you so much for the great information. All participants, just so you know, we will be sending a follow-up email with a recording of this session. We'll also include a link of the PowerPoint presentation slides that will include the QR codes and the websites and a range of other resources that'll take and help you out. And one of the things that we encourage you to do is please watch out for future events that we are looking to plan to bring the community together with other speakers. The other thing I ask you, in addition to remembering to vote and utilizing some of your voice, is also be kinder than yourselves. And one of the things that really inspires me, and one of the things that really resonates that Ronald E. McNair would always talk about and remind everyone, is that you are better than enough. And one of the things I just really want to end on is, please, again, be kind to yourself and believe in yourself. And if you have one of those low moments, remember, you have a national community behind you who is committed to your success. With that said,
could you put up that QR code again in the background or somewhere?
Sure, I will see if I can. You're going to make me multitask, Carl. That's not
well,
good.
Yeah.
Here we go.
But this is important.
This is very important. Here we go.
Get in touch with me. I love to talk to you. Most folks will tell you I'll get back in touch with you if you reach out to me.
Yeah.
All right.
And so with that said, please make sure to utilize this amazing community. And so regardless if where you're going for graduate school, one of your first steps should be to see, hey, who is part of your National McNair community? And so thank you all, and I wish you all a good evening.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Recording's off, I think.
All right. Thank you.
Get what you wanted.
Good job, Matt. We got done and out of here before 4 o'clock.
I'm still here.
Yeah, there you are, Carl. Little gut check there. Did we get a double check on that first part of the recording?
I think it is still recording right now.
Oh boy. Okay, well, hopefully someone in Matt has good editing skills.
Okay, so that was on me, because when it started, I was admitting people, but it also came up and said, will you allow this person to record? And I was just thinking I was admitting, so I was saying yes. And then it said, this meeting is recording. And that's Michael Hunt.
Okay. So
it's under Michael's assistant, and he said he would send us the full version of the recording.
Okay. Thank you so much. So yeah, it's once can you let me know when you have that all packaged, and I'll send you some of the additional links and resources.
That would be great. And then we'll get it like on YouTube with the link to put on the map site, plus to send to everybody who registered for this event.
Sounds good. And thank you, whoever Michael's assistant is, we do know is Michael's assistant's amazing.
He said he would make sure we got it.
Cool. Well, with that said, I motion for us to adjourn. Carl, again, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Things worked out okay, you think?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing, Carl.
Okay.
Always doing a great job. Big props.
Thank you. Thank you all. Glad to help. Take care and have a good evening.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Carl. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
I'm just gonna end the meeting, and that'll stop the recording. How about?
Sounds good. Thank you much. Bye, Carl. Hey, Carl, I got to
Bye
go
now.
into another class right now, but then I'll give you a call either tomorrow just to
All right, that's fine.
process
That's
with you.
fine. All
right.
right. Good
Talk
night.
to you soon.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.